It's Emery DeBala from AB Consulting, and today I'm really excited. I'm going to be joined by Carly Shuler and Maya Kotecha, co-founders of Hoot Reading. So when the pandemic started, many parents, including myself, made the shift to online learning. And one of the things that was a challenge was that with younger children, my son is 5.5, that getting a sort of extended focus through the remote technology was hard. And one of the reasons we fell in love with Hoot Reading is that it is a service that is a 20-minute guided reading process, one-on-one with a certified teacher, that is based on research around sort of key learning times. And what can I say? Hoot Reading has been a lifesaver for me, and I've been so proud and pleased to see my son's reading progress and his love of reading grow as well over the last few months. And I know for us, Hoot Reading is definitely something that we're going to continue to use. And we also tried the Hoot Math a few weeks ago, and that's been going really, really well. So I'm really excited to have Carly and Maya here to share more about their journey and their story, and also how Hoot Reading came to be and some of the things that we can look forward to in the future. So Carly and Maya, welcome. Thank you. And it's so great to see you both.
Thanks for having us today.
Wonderful.
We're really lucky to be here in Canada, and I think in Winnipeg in particular, where we're based. We've had a relatively normal summer, and the industry is the right industry to be in at this time, so we consider ourselves very lucky.
Wonderful. Well, listen, thanks again. And Hoot Reading is such an incredible success story, and this has been a lifesaver for many parents, especially since the pandemic started, myself included. And we also love that you're a female-led business. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about your story, your careers, and how Hoot Reading really came to be.
Well, first, I'm Carly, and I am one of the co-founders and co-CEOs along with Maya here at Hoot Reading. So Hoot Reading connects kids with real classroom teachers to practice reading online over our app, which was actually incubated at Sesame Workshop, where I used to work, so the creators of Sesame Street. And so Maya and I have a really different journey to Hoot. I've been in the ed tech space for quite a long time. I started at Spin Master, which you might know is a real Canadian and Toronto success story. And after my time there, where I really developed a passion for kids products, I got a master's in technology and education at Harvard Graduate School of Education, really learning on how to use emerging technologies to help children learn, which led me to Sesame, where I was staffed on a research project aiming to understand how kids could learn over video chat. So this was probably in 2009, and I don't think we would have ever foreseen that in 2020 we would be having this global pandemic and everyone would be learning over video chat. But I certainly feel like I have a background leading me up to this moment, and so that's really what brought me to Hoot. But Maya's journey is actually quite different.
Yeah. Hi everybody, I'm Maya. So my story is a little bit personal. So my daughter, when she was quite young, she was struggling with her speech and struggling with her reading, and it was flagged at school. So, quite early, she was diagnosed with a learning difference. And as a parent, I went through the struggles of trying to navigate the system of intervention and advocacy, and trying to see, how a child can learn to read. So I think the story for me is a bit more personal, and the mission behind Hoot, because I was fortunate to, get my child the help that she needed and to thrive. And we know how hard that is to do for lots of parents. So I think when Carly and I thought of the idea, the timing was also right. I had been at a company for over 15 years, and a really exciting growing company. And we had complementary skill sets, Carly and I. And the company was acquired around that time. So the timing was right for me to be able to take a risk with Carly and start something new.
Thank you both for sharing those stories. I appreciate that. How did you two meet? How did you get connected?
So Maya and I met actually through our husbands, who are both from Winnipeg, and played sports against each other growing up. So my mother-in-law always jokes that, there's still a competitive element there. Oh, that Matul, he was really good at basketball, but And we were both traveling with our boyfriends at the time, I suppose, through Asia, and we ended up going on a little trip together, and that's how we met, and we became friends. And then we had daughters at the same time and sons at the same time. And when Maya and Matola moved back to Winnipeg, we really became very close friends, and it started as a friendship.
Going on a Southeast Asia trip together with someone you didn't know, but Carly and I, we connected right away. So that was really exciting. And, we're just reflecting on some of our old photos, and we have pictures from 20 years ago. And our lives, we're now business partners, our husbands work together, our kids are friends, we're neighbors, so we're quite intertwined.
I had this beautiful piece of technology for remote reading, and I always have considered Maya one of my friends who is brilliant in business, and I wasn't really sure what to do with this tech. How could we make it a viable business? And we were sitting down one day and out for lunch as friends, and she said, these are the struggles I've been going through with my daughter. Have you ever considered tutoring? And we kind of fleshed out the idea, and it was sort of at that lunch that the idea for Hoot Reading was born. And then we did a pilot, and the results of the pilot were so amazing that, as Maya said, she left her job and joined me, and here we are.
Okay, so I basically love everything about the story, and it's such a wow moment, right? I mean, without sort of the intention, I think sometimes some of the most beautiful entrepreneurial stories are just this very sort of natural and organic alignment of ideas. So congratulations to you both. That's really wonderful. Carly, the technology that you said that was developed at Sesame, were you then able to just move that into a different platform? Was there anything proprietary around that?
There was some stuff. So at Sesame, I worked at an internal think tank that was focused on doing research on how emerging technologies can help children learn. Mm-hmm. And so this one was focused on video chat, like I said. So it resulted in great research that, that formed the product that we have today, but we never actually built it out into a product at Sesame. So fast forward a couple of years, and we got the rights and built out the product ourselves for, at the time it was iPads, which was then, the medium of choice for delivering the technology. So yeah, we went through the process, but Sesame is a really incredible organization. A lot of people don't know that it's a nonprofit, and they're really all about helping children learn through technology. So they were very willing to work with us, and it all worked out really well.
No, that's great. I mean, obviously, I think for many families, Sesame holds a very special place, especially in the early learning years of our children, right? Absolutely. So I imagine business must really have taken off with this pandemic, right? Many of us tried the remote learning experiment, which had some sort of selective results, I would say. And, and one of the things that I find is that the packaged learning that you offer through Hoot in terms of both time and content works really, really well, and, can keep young learners engaged as well. So tell us a little bit more about, what some of the feedback that you've received from customers, and, how are you evolving your business platform, and, really key learnings as well from this time.
Carly and I have been so fortunate. We have been thriving in this climate, and we know a lot of businesses haven't. So, it's been really fortunate for Hoot Reading. And I think it really, as a startup, gave us the platform to amplify our voice, right? So parents who may not have considered something like this before, or thought, that's not something that I need for myself, once they were able to try it and saw how it fit into their life, they've been very happy with what we've done to offer, like yourself. So we appreciate that feedback as a parent. So, immediately right when the pandemic happened, we realized that we were not an after-school program anymore. We had to open up our hours. So that's what we did immediately. We opened our hours to be 9 to 9 across all time zones, across the US, across Canada. So it was quite an exciting couple of weeks for us to ramp up to make sure that would happen. And the feedback's just amazing. The kids have been engaged, like you said. They're making progress in their reading skills. And I think the biggest thing is for parents who, even if they had lost their jobs or were at home in the beginning or working from home, they had that moment of calm where their child was, taken with the teacher with immediate instruction, one-to-one, and they felt really good about letting them go on the screen at that point. So the feedback's been great.
Yeah. Oh no, that's great. And again, you're right? So many of us are conflicted around what's happening on the iPad, and even the iPad in general. And I think, I read in one of your articles, it's really about how do you create that space in the technology to sort of further that learning agenda, right? So use it as a tool versus a hindrance, if anything, which I really like, because that technology is here to stay. Right.
And you asked about kind of the key learning that we have, and I think technology is key. So Carly just talked about the background of what we have, and yes, we have these, amazing teachers, and we have such a great curriculum that we offer, but the technology was made for guided reading. So, compared to some of the other tools out there that some of the teachers were using and they had to use, of course, people were quite excited to just use this tool that we had as a package and be able to kind of just have the app fall into the background where their teachers could really do that intervention.
Perfect. And Maya, I'm curious a little bit more about, your customer base. I know that you're obviously in Canada and the US, but I'm sure our audience would also love to know, if you are servicing sort of a broader geographic regions as such.
Yeah, we are in North America primarily right now. We have actually, during the pandemic, had a couple expats in Britain and a couple other areas that, had roots in Canada or in the US that have used our service. So we're primarily North America right now. We're 9 to 9 across all time zones.
Mm-hmm.
We offer reading in English, obviously French, and we're going to be doing Spanish soon, which is really exciting. And then we offer a math program as well for kids who are in the preschool to grade 2 years.
Sure. So first up for us is evolving our platform so that we are cross-platform, meaning that we have been historically only available on iPads, and coming in the fall, we're going to be available as a web app on all devices, which is very exciting, and we can be much more, much more available to all the families who want to use us. So that's number one. And then after that, there are some really exciting things coming down the pipe in terms of technology and how we can make the service even better for guided reading. Some of the things that I can share, there's a lot I can't share, but shared inking, for example, so the ability to write and the ability to block out words. And again, as a technology that was really specifically created for remote guided reading, we're able to bring in some features that a lot of the other video chat technologies just don't have. So lots of exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah, really exciting. I like the idea of shared ink actually, because that's such a great compliment. I wanted to talk a little bit more around the human resources side of your business. You obviously have, very qualified teachers, and I'm sure a number of other people supporting the operation overall. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit more around, your recruitment philosophy as well. And from there, talking about your corporate culture, because you're really looking at how you're going to be able to maintain that corporate culture in a remote environment, which so many companies and clients that we're talking to are trying to figure out, right? Especially as many of them aren't going to be returning to the office in the next little while. So tell us a little bit more about your recruitment philosophy, and then also, the corporate culture side of things.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for saying that about our teachers. We do take a lot of pride in our selection process. So we know that the teachers are really the heart of what we do at Hoot, and they build that rapport with that child. So, given the size of the company we are, we do have the privilege to be able to interview all our teachers. I've met all of them, or Carly's met them, or our director of operations has met all of these teachers and be able to pre-qualify them. So besides them, meeting the minimum requirements of having an education degree, having that really kind of elementary school experience, we really look for passion for reading. That really comes across for some teachers. Some teachers are really passionate about math, and some people are really passionate about reading, right? It really depends on that kind of teacher. And I think the ones that are in that preschool, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, they just really understand that really strong benefit of guided reading and practice that comes out in the interview. So in terms of our kind of number one philosophy is really who is the teacher that's going to be engaging and build that rapport from a reading perspective while they're on video chat. So we've been doing video chat before, most everyone has been doing it. So we know that the teachers that we're hiring for really need to engage. It is not the same experience that they would have. And then to keep the teachers engaged, we have a mentorship program. So we have quite a few lead teachers that have been with us for a couple of years that are able to answer questions for teachers. We make sure that they're available. And then most of our teachers are really kind of used to working in that online environment right now. So obviously using communication like email and Facebook groups and all those type of things to keep them engaged. They're really excited about that process more than anything.
Wonderful. Thank you. So Maya and Carly, one of the things I'd love to know more from you about, especially as female entrepreneurs in the tech space, are what are some lessons there for you that that you think would help other entrepreneurs, other female entrepreneurs, or ones even venturing into or thinking about venturing into the technology space?
I think as a female in tech and a female entrepreneur in tech, we are so underrepresented. So I can't remember the statistic, but I think it's something like 3% of tech CEOs are female. But that being said, I would say don't think too much about it. If you believe in your product and you believe in your technology and you believe in your team, go for it, take the risks. I think in our experience, we found the technology community to be very embracing of females in tech. There is a huge lens towards diversity of all sorts. And so if you are a female who is looking to take the leap, I think now's the time. I think we're much luckier than, our parents' generation, or even, women coming just a few years before us. So, I think that I just hope women have the confidence. I also personally found as a parent that although being an entrepreneur and having a startup is extremely busy, it also does offer you a lot of flexibility. So it can be a really nice balance. Maya, I'm sure you have something to add.
Yeah, I would echo what Curly said, and I think she's been in the startup world for quite some time, and I think for myself personally, over the last couple of years, just reaching out to other people, we've done LinkedIn messages or direct messages, and people are really open to talk to you and really kind of lift you up. So I think there's this major movement around women in tech and women in general that are willing to collaborate or provide you advice on different things. So don't be scared to reach out to advice if you don't know. If you see an expert, just send them a note, and you never know what kind of information you get back. So
that's really, really wonderful advice. And I couldn't agree with you more about getting the opportunity to have an audience at this time. A lot of women that I'm talking to that are parents, since they've been working from home and they have some fairly, high powered jobs, but the working from home and being able to sort of manage the multiple demands. And having said that, they found that this has been a really great time for them to have some really creative, innovative ideas. And they're thinking about, well, when all this is over or my kids go back to school, I want to start this business. And some of them have some, fantastic ideas. So I think it's the time, right? Like we're seeing a lot of creativity and innovation come through this. So thank you for that. And you're right. The flexibility of living the entrepreneurial life is, I don't think you can put a price on that, right? Mm-hmm. It's great. So listen, one of the fun questions that we like to ask all of our guests is, the dream of travel. So when we can and when it's safe to get on a plane or maybe it's a drive, who knows? Tell us a little bit more about what destination or destinations you might be thinking about heading to once we can.
List. I think for me, outside the obvious kind of ones that I would pick right away, I do really miss my family. So I have family in Toronto and I have family in DC, and I have siblings and cousins. And I think the first thing I would try to do is visit them. So really getting that kind of family time would be top on my list.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Maya, you stole my answer. I was going to say the first thing I would do would be see my close friends and family in Toronto. But after that, given that we are based in Winnipeg, I would be heading somewhere sunny because I think this winter is going to be difficult.
I hear you on the winter. I'm already starting to think about that January, February timeframe, right? And finding a plot of sand.
Exactly. Doesn't even matter where it is.
And I love that Toronto is on the top of both your lists because, of course, if you do make it out here, we'd love to connect with you in person as well. But listen, thank you so much for your time, Maya and Carly. This has been really great. And really, what an amazing story, both in terms of what you've created with Hoot Reading, but also the journey that brought you there. So we really appreciate you sharing that. And I think that, for our audience and for parents that are watching, we really encourage you to try Hoot Reading. And one of the beauties of the offering that you have is that people can take their first session for free and try it out, right? And so trust me, you'll want to go back for more, but I think that good luck also to all the parents that are managing the remote learning piece. And we're so excited to hear more about your story unfold, and of course all the future programming and content that you have lined up as well. So thank you again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.